So a couple things. Again, my name is David Sanchez, and I've been working with Launch, fabulous folks at Launch for many, many, many years. And we've actually discovered lots of people from Launch. And so I, as an agent, always really look forward to these opportunities to get to know you. And I appreciate you spending the time today with all of us to come in this digital moment to learn. As someone who, as an entrepreneur and been in the business for 22 years, and also teaches college class and teaches the model movements classes myself, I love people that come up to learn. So I'm just going to share you my experience. It's been very wild and varied, and it's been very fun to be in all sides of the coin. As a person, for me, I've been in, like I said, I've been in the business for 22 years, but I started out as a model. So when I was 18, I started out as a model in a small market like Oregon. And then in 2005, I moved to Chicago. 2004, I moved to Chicago and began modeling here. And then traveled the world. I lived overseas many times. I lived in New York. And then finally in 2008, I switched gears and became a talent agent at a company who no longer exists. They merged into Select Models, but it was called Chosen Models, and it was a men's agency. And then I went to Ford Models and was representing women for many years before I started my own company, which is 10 Management in Chicago. So if you haven't been to the website, it's 10mgmt.com. And what we're going to talk about today is how to break through the noise of this industry. And there's many types of talent types that you can experience in this industry. So I want to quickly touch on each one of them and do a little breakthrough and really give you the perspective of an agent. So I've been in your position as a talent. I've actually, when I was 16 in high school, I went to a model search. So I know what it feels like to be on your shoes. So I really commend you to trying to get into this business. First and foremost, you need these two things, and you need to answer these questions about yourself quickly. Do I have like a value system, and what is my value system? And then can I handle failure and rejection? Those are two really important things that you need to understand about yourself very quickly. And the first one really means, especially with trying to break through the noise, we need to know who you are very, very quickly. And in many times that could be in 5 seconds, in 10 seconds or less that we have to get to know you. And we're making opinions about you very quickly. And when I say we are making opinions, it could be casting directors, talent agents, producers, art directors, anybody that is trying to book the work for you. So I really want you to journal how you feel about yourself and what do you physically bring, emotionally, spiritually, physically bring to the table. So for example, it is my belief, and I'm pretty liberal in the sense of when I speak about measurements and sizes and ethnicity and gender and sexuality, my agency really believes in full inclusion. We don't really believe in sizes anymore. So I want you to understand the larger ecosystem may have those boundaries in a fashion model sense. So a fashion model is typically someone that is a bit more editorial, that has very specific sizes and a very specific age. So for women, traditionally that means you're about 18 and under, and you have sizes around 5'9" to 5'11", and you're a size 0. That is an old paradigm. I don't believe in that paradigm, but the larger industry may still put those sizes on you. So if you're going to New York or Milan or Paris, be recognized, those size requirements may be asked of you from an agency. So again, fashion models tend to be for clients like J. Crew, Vogue, Nordstrom, anything like a MAC cosmetic, anything that's higher visibility, shoe campaigns, etc. Those are what we're looking for fashion models. So when a fashion model comes to me, in a way, like I'm sort of digitally casting right now. Sometimes when you present yourself to agencies, less is more. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to not have images to present yourself. They just need to be very simple and beautiful images without a lot of makeup or styling or like hair and makeup. We really just want to look at you as a person. We're looking at your jawline, your facial structure, your eye shape, your body shape. And so if you are outside of those traditional boundaries, and maybe you're a size 5'7" or 5'9", or maybe you're a size 14 or a 22, you still have plenty of room. And it's just about what makes you special in your body and yourself. So you have to figure that out and bring that to the table and do it quickly. Because if you show up as a fashion model and you're have tons of makeup on and you're really presenting an image that we can't see who you are, we don't want to figure it out. We don't have the time to figure out who you are. So I really want you thinking about the simpler the better, really bringing that awareness to yourself. And then when we say lifestyle model, a lifestyle model is, I really enjoy working with, because there really isn't a boundary. You could be any shape, size, it doesn't matter. And so if we think about the types of jobs a lifestyle model will be booking, that's going to be like a Tide ad versus a J. Crew ad. So you might be in the electric power commercial or a lottery commercial versus, you know, an American Vogue tear sheet. So those are two different things. So that's, again, where any gender, size, ethnicity can really come into play. The difference, if you were to look at, and as I speak, remember, you have these tools at the Launch Showcase's website. So go in and really study each agency's website that you see. So if I were to give you some lifestyle agencies, you know, and we represent all of these talent that I'll be speaking to today, but check out Stewart Talent, Lily's Talent, State Management. These are all agencies that have really strong lifestyle boards. And those can, again, be a grandma, 80 years old, all the way down to, you know, a 5'1" person. So we want diversity in that space, because when we get a breakdown from any types of clients, they might be looking for that unique role, and we will then be booking it. So if you are engaging us as a lifestyle model, so for those of you that don't believe you're a fashion model, this is where you're going to have that space as a print model. And that's really exciting. And so if you're going to bring us pictures of yourself as a lifestyle model, just make them pretty, handsome, not a lot of hair, you know, not a lot of editing, not a lot of hair and makeup, simple poses. And there's photographers that I'm going to suggest that you look at, not necessarily to work with, but understand that type of photography. And there's a few Chicago photographers that do this work beautifully. One is Olivia Kohler Photography. Again, her name is Olivia Kohler, like the plumbing. The second is Nina Ottolino, Ottolino, so Nina Ottolino, and JP Quindara, Quindara, JP Quindara. So really find those photographers and understand that relationship to the simplicity of the image. That's where we really just want to see you as a person. And if you were to go to my website, which is 10mgmt.com, I would suggest you look at, under the lifestyle board on the women's tab, a model that I found and scouted when I was at a restaurant last year, because she was a beautiful 30s mother, and her name is Jess Knight. So you'll see her images, very simple. And I've booked her on so many catalog jobs, you know, at $1,000 a day or more, based off of just those simple images. So a fashion client really wants, when we're, as agents or mother agents, when we are promoting a fashion model to the bigger marketplace, it really has to be filled with lots of campaigns, tear sheets, editorials, versus a lifestyle portfolio can be very simple. So that's the difference there. A couple things that to relate to, any quirks about you, birthmarks, big gaps in your teeth, cool tattoos, you know, piercings, you know, whatever uniqueness is about you, I think let's bring that to the table. The market right now wants really unique things, and which means, you know, could be a skin pigmentation, whatever it may be. We want diversity in you. And so if you have that extra special something within you, don't cover it up with hair and makeup or styling. Let's see it. And I think that's really important. That's going to be that extra step to bring you to the front of the line. I want to talk about the idea of a social media influencer. And all of you really should be paying attention to your social media, even if we are not a social media influencer, because clients, agents, we go to that almost first now. It's almost as though your portfolio is secondary, because clients want to see what you look like in the moment. And then they want to know, do you match my value system as a brand? And if you do, we will book you. If we do not, and maybe you're out there partying or doing something that doesn't align with the brand values, they're not going to book you. And as an agent, and this is a great little side story. The other week, I was trying to book one of my talent on a job. And as an agent, I'm pushing to the client, hey, she's perfect. I know you. You're going to love her. But they just wouldn't agree. And then later in the afternoon, I got an email. I just looked at her Instagram. I love her. Please book her. And so it kind of took that idea, as your agent, I can only push you so much, but they had to go to your social media to really learn about you. So make sure that things are really clean. I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you, but you really should have 3 pillars of value systems within your social media for me to understand who you are. So let me break that down. It could be entertainment, modeling, acting, or maybe you're a teacher and you're a model and you're a parent. So those are 3 things that sort of we understand about you. If there's more than 3 things in the marketplace, we get confused. So I want you to just play around with who am I, what, and again, that's when I asked you that first question when we first started, what are my value systems? So that uncovers a little bit more about you. For example, I signed earlier this year this woman that represents all of these qualities. And she has a charity, she's beautiful, she has a disability, she's ethnic, and she's a woman. So she has a lot of beautiful qualities about herself, but it was because she represents, and she has a social charity that's her own, that I really felt like that value system needed to be seen in the marketplace. But she brought to the table many qualities. So I want you to play around with your social media. A social media influencer is defined as somebody that truly is influencing a purchase. So it can become a bit of a sponsored post. So if you go to influencers, typically 1 in 5 posts is a sponsored post. Not everything can be sponsored, but those people are making anywhere between $200,000 and $10,000 a post, depending on their level of followers. So if they have 30,000 followers, 50,000 followers, that could be anywhere between $500 and $3,000 a post. And that's what we typically book at my company. And for us, we don't sign food bloggers, travel bloggers. Our clients are entertainment, fashion, and fitness lifestyle clients. So if you were to go to our board, I look for people with very specific viewpoints, aesthetic, messaging, visual, consistency on the image, and somewhat of a brand that they've created. They know their demographics, which means who am I selling to? And we can prove that value to the brand. So if I were to say to a brand like Crest or Pepsi or whatever that may be, okay, here is this person and they are this expensive because they stand for this, they have this following, and then we negotiate the contract that way. They're not a model, they're not an actor, but they represent themselves. So there is this really exciting new space in social media that is reshaping the industry. And I want to lead to actor next, because you can be all of these things and you can be just one. So I want you to understand as I speak, you can pick and choose. But our ultimate goal, and that's what I'll get to the end, our ultimate goal is that you are all of them. And that's what we really look for now. And I think that is how we break through the noise. But an actor is typically someone that is trained through either a professional academic college or high school, or they've done separate training outside through an acting school in your local community, and you have a skill set that you can bring to the table. And there is unspoken sort of movement. There's on camera, you need to know how a camera moves, a moving camera. And you need to know how to deliver copy and lines without looking at the page. So for you, if you're signing up for an acting workshop or to present yourself as an actor or an actress at launch, really make sure that you have the chops to get there. Because we don't want to see someone as an agent that can barely act. We want to understand that you can handle either a commercial copy. When I say commercial, that's like a bank script. You know, you're in a lottery commercial, something that's really simple. Or can you do comedy or drama? So have a prepared, memorized monologue in one of two of those areas. Again, that's comedy or drama. Have it memorized, be ready for feedback, and be willing to be open to deliver the lines a different way. So if we are, and I'm going to shift a little bit. So let's assume I'm a casting director, because these are the conversations that we have with local casting agents in Chicago with our actors. They will rate you and take extensive notes on you every time they meet you. And they keep databases of that. So we always have to think like a client, which means your resume and headshot have to be perfect. No spelling errors, nothing. And every time you go into that casting office, they are going to rate you, and they rate you on a whole layer of scales. And then depending on the types of projects and the types of tiered talent they need, they will either call you in or not. So if you walk into that acting room and you cannot handle it, or you messed up your lines, or you didn't do a technique a certain way, you're communicating to them you're not a serious actor, time to go. They need to find someone else. So it's okay to have the ambition to be an actor. Just make sure to use this time in quarantine to take an acting online class, practice your scripts, be ready for it. And there are two types of acting jobs: union and non-union jobs. And so when we hear that word SAG, which is Screen Actors Guild, that's union. And that is only 10% commission that the agency can take from you. Non-union is everything else, and we can take 20% commission from you. And their union benefits are just like a union. There are protections, there's rules, there's guidelines that the production company has to follow. There are contracts, and non-union is whatever the parties agree to. So there's a lot of less protections as a non-union talent than there are as a union. I would be really careful on becoming union until you are legitimate, making at least $50,000 or more every year in an acting union sense. Why? Because about 90% of work in the Midwest is non-union. So if you become union, it takes you out of even a print job. So if there is a moving camera on set, even social media is a moving camera, you cannot do the job as a union actor, as a model. Then you are not able to do that job, which means you've earned less money. So we really want to make sure talent that are going the union route are doing it because they're becoming a series regular on a TV show. They've got that movie part. They're really making a legitimate career out of this because it takes out all that print now. So if you are a union actor, we have to get approval from the non-union print job for you to be in it. And it's a lot of back and forth. And at this day and age, the client just moves on typically. So just really make sure that you have had some amount of education, because again, the client wants to see that education. But let's say I'm just a model and I want to do a commercial. That happens all the time. We book models on non-union speaking parts, extras, high-level extras, where you're next to the star all the time. So as a model, you have to be used to what the moving camera can bring to you. And that's very important because we need to know that you can handle everything that we throw at you. If you can't, you are only being called in for a very limited amount of work. And then you're going to be upset while you're slow. So the more that you can bring to the table and show us that you have the skill set, which is why you're here today, so thank you, is will help you in the future. And then let's get to the golden goose, which is all the above. And that is what we call the multi-hyphenated talent. That's like Willy Wonka and the golden ticket. That's what we look for. So for some of us, if you can sing and dance and have a personality and you've got a cool look, oh my goodness, I want to see you. So we want that because again, you know, it's kind of like the opposite in business. In business, we have to be very niche to a very specific customer. But now we're saying to have success in the industry, you need to be everything. So it is very difficult. That takes time. That takes patience, dedication, you know, and great agents to get you there. But the idea is, so for us at the agency, we might see one thing in you and over time develop all these other skill sets and then get you TV deals, sponsorship deals, appearances, campaigns, all around the fact that now you're a big persona. And that's when we see a lot of people enter like reality TV, et cetera, because they want to elevate that image to a national space. But look at a company and it's partnered with LA models. It's called Slash Management. And they're exactly what I'm talking about. They work out of LA Models website or office in LA. And it's really representing the YouTubers, the viral, you know, beauties. And those people are now competing with actors and models for the same jobs. And they're making a lot more money because they have an audience, they have a voice, they have a perspective and a brand. So we love when people are all of the above. Like we represent someone who is in a Korean boy band and he can do everything. He can act, he can sing, he can dance, and he's the best client because we know we can send him to any casting, any job, and he will book it because he's fearless. So I want to have you explore afterwards today. I want you to really journal, you know, and don't judge yourself. It's so beautiful if you are just one thing. I don't need you to be 100 things. So you can have incredible success as a fashion model, as a lifestyle model, as an influencer, as an actor, as a talent. But if you're all the above, I think Launch is going to be a great place for us to see that because there are, as agents now, to be able to grow that brand. And IMG, which is one of the top agencies in the world, has such a great job at being able to take a star and then elevate them. So Ashley Graham, Carly Kloss, all these big supermodels get pushed into this bigger agency and now they're brands. They launch companies, they launch swimsuit lines, makeup brands, whatever it may be, they're become brands at this point. So that's definitely an end game, but that's a good resonation on the idea of what if I can do more than one thing? But I want you to journal how you see yourself in each one of those areas. What are my strengths and weaknesses in those areas? And then rely on Launch and your network to help fill in those blanks. Like today is a great workshop to sort of help you just to explore within yourself. Where do I see myself? You know, could I be an actress? Could I be an actor? Could I be in theater? Because there are all different types of agencies to suit you. So when you go to Launch, recognize, for example, Gray Talent, which I love Gray, they're an agency in town, they go to Launch. Well, they're really an acting agency, theater, TV, film. Whereas my company represents influencers, print models, and actors. So we do a completely different book of business than they do, even though we may be competitors at times. So I want you to really rely on the agent showcase or the agent list and really study the differences and then kind of ask yourself, where do I see myself? That's where it's so fun as an agent when we have those opportunities during Launch for those Q&As where you can come up and ask us questions and meet us, the agent meet and greet. Those are the times where you can sort of let us know who you are in those quick moments. And I'll end it here. Have 1 to 2 sentences, what we call a little elevator pitch. So when you sit down with our agent, boom. Hi, I'm David. I own 10 Management. We represent models, talent, actors, and social media influencers out of our West Loop office in Chicago, Illinois. Our website is 10MGMT. Have something quick that you've given all the information about yourself to the agent, and do it in a way that's pleasant, exciting, and you always want us to leave, you always want to leave us wanting more of you. So curiosity is where we then want to engage you. Like, that person's really intriguing. I want to know them more. I'm going to call them out for this convention and talk to them. Steve, do you think we'll have time for any questions, or do you think anybody has questions? I know I talk a lot, so.
I'm sure lots of people have questions. But the overarching question is, how are we going to get these questions from people? I guess if you have a question so that everyone doesn't pop on at the same time and we won't be able to hear anyone, gosh, I don't know. This whole thing is crazy. Should we type them in, or do you want to maybe you there's like a little hand thing. You can raise your hand. And,
like raise your hand if you want to ask a question.
Oh, you're
maybe pick one.
Miriam's raising a real hand. Okay, Miriam, you're first.
Oh, can you unmute?
Can you do it, Miriam?
Yes.
There you
go.
Can
you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi. How are you guys doing today?
Great.
Great.
All right. My question was, I actually don't have social media. I used to, but I had deleted everything when I graduated from high school because I was kind of, I think, addicted to it, kind of. So I wanted to like get away from it and like, discover myself and what I want to do with my life. And I want to re-download it and stuff. So is that going to like, if I start my social media again, is that going to like alter my chances of?
Not at all. I think you have a great opportunity to realign yourself with yourself. And if you just want to present a professional, and maybe it's only acting headshots or modeling images, and that's all you post, and it's just a work account, not a personal, that's fine too. I think just start crafting something. The worst thing that you would want to do is go to an agency and you have nothing. Because to be honest, agencies in New York and LA may not sign you without 100,000 followers or more. So we don't want that to be a deterrent for you.
That makes
and then
sense.
if you don't mind muting your screen now.
Okay. Thank
Great.
you.
No.
I see down on her. Is it Barbara?
Michelle Clark.
Michelle Clark. Hi, Michelle. Go ahead.
Howdy, Steve. Yeah, sorry, I had some difficulties getting in. Now, first of all, thank you, David, and for the information. It was super fantastic. I'm totally excited. I had a question based off of, you were talking to the young lady prior to, and you were saying needing at least about 100,000 followers. How do we get the followers up? Because my following game is so weak right now, and I need to get my followers up.
So again, we could do hours of this conversation, and we do a lot of work with our talent for this. But it starts with, and I always present these questions to the talent. Who am I? What do I believe in? And what's my perspective? So you might go to the marketplace in the social media and find 3 or 5 social media followers or social media people that you really like. Now study them. Why do you like them? What kind of posts do you like? And then through those 3 pillars, which are who you are. So if you're a model, actress, mother, for example, you're going to make posts within those subject topics only. So we don't really step outside of those boundaries. You may do that every once in a while, but we don't want to confuse the audience. So we're beginning to draft some persona of ourselves in the marketplace. And then unfortunately, it's just quantity. You're going to have to a ton of posts, engage the followers. And I find if you can be vulnerable and really share your experience and story, it takes it from, oh, look at me, I'm just a pretty person, to, wow, I love this image about myself because it represents, you know, the inner struggle that I had to get to here, and tell that story. So I tell all of my talent, be really vulnerable, connect with your audience. Why? We've all done it to ourselves, so we're all guilty. We scroll on Instagram. Here, let me pull up my Instagram. Do we not just go like this?
Absolutely.
And we make our decision in about, what, a nanosecond if we like the person. We don't know, our subconscious is going, I don't know, yes, 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 I like it, or no, 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 I don't like it. So explore that within yourself and kind of ask yourself, why am I responding negatively to that image, or what about that image is bringing me in? I find when I'm more vulnerable and tell a story, I become more engaged with the topic and the audience becomes more engaged. So I think there's a real difference, because social media can look like a lot of undressed, beautiful people, but they're not going to really get that far. So I want you to really find a message for yourself and play around with it. Just because you feel one way today means you might feel differently tomorrow. So you'll find over time what works for you. Find 3 to 5 hashtags that you like and stick with those hashtags.
Great. I have a little Max down.
Hi, Max.
Holding his hands up the whole time. Max, go ahead and unmute. Let's hear what you have to say. Go ahead, Max. We're ready for you.
So, I'm only 9, and
What?
I don't think I should have a social media account because I do, but it's private. So what should I do?
I think if you are, once you get an agency, have your parents run the account for you and make it a work-only account, and they monitor it for you only.
Okay.
Good one. We've got time for a few more. Who else has a question? Raise your hand if you do.
I will speak to, real quick, if this helps you, you know, think about, I want to leave you with this principle. Always think like a client. And when I say that, am I giving you the tools to book me? So let's use Launch as a great example. The agents are clients. We are watching you every second, even when we're in the elevator, we're watching you. So anytime you are in public view, you need to be on point, period. We all have bad days, you know, whatever. But anytime you're walking the hallways, look your best, feel your best, be engaging, because if you're having an off moment, we're going to remember that. And we talk to each other too. So remember that.
Great. Do we have any other questions right now? I'm looking for a hand. Nobody's putting a hand. Oh, Lavard has a hand.
All right. And I'm going to take a picture of us for social media too.
Okay. All right, Lavard, you are up.
Hello. How you doing, Steve? Thank you, guys. David, thank you guys for this workshop. This is very usable information. Thank you.
Oh.
But my question is, it goes towards, how would you go as far as cleaning up your social media? And I guess my second question would be, as far as what would be crossing that line, as far as what's too far. Of course, not breaking the law and anything like that, but what are some things that may cross the line?
So cleaning up social media is really easy. Just archive, go deep, take out old stuff. We just don't want a negative image, meaning a poorly constructed image or a low quality image to be seen. So, you know, if you're starting over, then just start over. Delete everything, start over, it's fine, or just maybe clean up. I would suggest to stay away from nudity and drugs. So if that is something you're interested in, then make your private, and then have a separate work account that's public.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Lauren.
Yes, so years ago when I first got on YouTube, I had a different email. The email location is closed down, so I have no way to take off a video. Like, it's not bad, but it's not great. And so I just don't want it to ruin my chances. What do I do about that?
Is it like on Hotmail or YouTube or something?
So it's a video on YouTube.
You
It
should be
was
able to
Pixius.
flag it. You should be able to flag it and make a claim. You can type in like why you're harmed by it. So try to do some legwork, and then you might have to try a couple times and almost flag it every day. But just keep trying.
Thank you.
Yeah. But I think this has been a great chat. I want you to be really proud of yourselves that you're learning. And then I've given you a lot to think about. And then the last thing that I would suggest for all of us is just how am I going to be healthy? Even if you're not a 0 and maybe you're a size 26 or 22, you still have room in this industry. So just always be presenting your best self to the agents and to the industry. So use this time constructively, take workshops, eat healthy, work out, get your steps in, whatever you can do to feel mentally and physically and spiritually there. That's what we want, is somebody that's really connected to self. That's what you bring your best self to the table. And that's what, as agents, it's been my experience in the last 12 years, the people that are really connected to their truest, highest self do the best in this industry. And I've seen people make incredible amounts of money in this industry, and it's so much fun. So your steps in the right direction. And if you haven't already, go to Instagram, and the agency is 10MGMT on Instagram, and you'll be able to follow us on Instagram as well. And we have about 26,000 followers. So so if you haven't already, go on our Instagram and follow us as well. And I look forward to seeing you all there. And I see somebody have a question. So if you don't mind, email it to Steve, and then I'll just write back and email you.